Chapter 8. Reflection. An injured Marianne placed both hands on the marble railings. She sauntered down the stairs as if she were a toddler discovering steps for the first time. Once she made it to the bottom of the steps, she limped toward the door. The throbbing in her leg caused her to pause. She lifted her pants leg, and underneath was a nasty discolored blue and reddish bruise on the inside of her right calf. She touched it slightly, and intense pain shot through her body. The after effects of the fall were worse than she thought. She pulled down her pant leg and limped to the door. She looked in the peephole, smiled, and opened the door.
"Trick or treat!"
replied a small group of children who were escorted by a tall man in a clown costume. She grabbed the candy bowl with delectable treats off the end table and placed handfuls into each child's orange pumpkin basket. Once she finished handing out the candy, she wished them a happy evening and closed the door. She went into the bathroom medicine cabinet and took some ibuprofen and washed it down with a bottle of water from the fridge. She searched the freezer for an ice pack, and when she found it, placed it against her head and had a seat on the couch. While sitting there, she saw a picture hanging of herself, Maura, Rain, and Jackson on the wall. She stared at the picture and reminisced on the past. She wished they were still a happy family and she did not have to raise two teenage girls alone.
If only Jackson would return.
A single tear fell from her eye as she pondered how to handle the situation with Maura. Maura paced back and forth in the spacious bathroom. She walked toward the window, lifted it up, and checked the distance between the second floor and the ground. If she jumped, she would not make it without severely injuring herself.
"Help! Someone! Please help me!"
The blaring horns, sporadic rain, and laughter of the trick-or-treaters were too much noise for her to compete with. Maura slammed the window shut, walked over to the door, and pulled it to ensure it was locked. She pressed her ear against it to see if she could hear her mother on the other side. She contemplated opening the door to run and grab her tablet from her room. If she could connect to the internet, she could call Rain or her father to keep her mother from whipping her. She did not want to take that chance and decided she would wait in the bathroom until Rain returned home. At least then she would have someone who could be a buffer between her and her mother. Maura sat on the edge of the bathroom tub and pondered what she could do to pass the time. Directly across from the tub was an oversized oval mirror above the sink. It stood about 4 feet tall. Out of the corner of Maura's eye, she saw the mirror and turned away. She regretted her decision to lock herself in the bathroom, but she really did not have another option. Her bedroom door was absent a lock, courtesy of her mother. It was too quiet now. There were no honking horns and no chatter of pedestrians. The only sound she heard was the rustle of the wind shrilling through the trees. Maura reopened the window. Silence was her enemy. The loud noise distracted her from her fearful and worrisome thoughts. Her contacts irritated her eyes, so she removed them and put on her purple glasses she left in the left drawer of the cabinet. She scrubbed the makeup from her face. No matter how hard she scrubbed or how much soap she used, the makeup was not coming off fast enough. She scrubbed harder, but to no avail. Frustrated, Maura threw the towel into the sink, which resulted in splashes of water falling all over the floor. The lights flickered off, and Maura immediately panicked. Faint whispers uttered Maura's name. She tried to avoid looking in the mirror, but she could see those red demon-like eyes out of the corner of her eye. They shot through the dark like lasers as they peered directly at her. When she looked up, there in the mirror stood the demented ghost-like reflection with a sadistic grin on its face. It just stood there as if it had all the time in the world. It was identical to the one she had seen a few hours ago. It moved its neck in an erratic and distorted way. Maura dashed toward the bathroom door and unlocked it. She pulled the doorknob, but the door would not open. She wrapped both her hands on the doorknob and yanked it repeatedly. It was stuck. No matter how hard she pulled, it would not budge.
"Mom, open the door! I'm stuck!"
she yelled. Her mother did not come. She banged on the door and frequently looked behind her. The bathroom window slammed shut and the glass shattered. The light bulbs in the bathroom popped and made Maura jump. The drawers and cabinets in the bathroom began opening and closing repeatedly as if being controlled by some unforeseen force. Darkness strangled the light and lingered in the crevices of the bathroom walls. Only a slight glimmer of light from the street lamp outside the window shined into the bathroom. An innocent, raspy, childlike voice chanted a haunting phrase.
Sticks and stones rarely break bones, but your unkind words will make me harm you.
Why do you keep tormenting me?
Moira screamed with a quiver in her voice. Chill bumps traveled from Moira's feet all the way to the top of her head. Her heartbeat increased. Moira opened her mouth to scream, but it was as if something muted her voice. Worried, she touched her throat and screamed again. But again there was no sound. She pounded on the door. The temperature in the bathroom plummeted. Moira could see her breath. A slow cracking sound caused Moira to turn around. Miniature pieces of glass fell from the mirror and spilled over into the sink and onto the floor. The crack in the mirror continued to widen as two fluid-like oil-colored hands protruded through the glass. Its fingers grasped the air like they were reaching for something. Inch by inch, the hands and fingers pressed through the mirror until the forearms were visible. Its yellow, crystallized fingernails moved like impatient spiders as they tapped the top of the ceramic vanity. The sound they created resembled that of long nails tapping a glass tabletop. They left remnants of their oily residue after every touch. Next, the shoulders and the head protruded forth from out of the mirror. Large shards of glass fell to the floor. Moira pushed her body close to the door. She opened her mouth to scream, but again, no sound came forth. The repetitive clicking sound returned. It caused her to turn around, and she watched as the reflection gripped its large, oily hands on the edge of the vanity and pulled itself from out of the mirror. Once it had pulled itself from out of the mirror, it sat quietly on top of the vanity. Without advanced notice, it pounced on the floor and landed on all fours like a black cat, but with 100 times its force. Was the sound the reflection's neck made when it turned its head toward Moira. It lifted one of its oil-laden fingers and motioned for Moira to come toward it. Moira beat her fist against the door. The reflection crawled toward Moira. Its yellow fingernails clawed against the ceramic tile floor. At the faintest touch, the ceramic cracked. The sound it produced resembled fingernails scratching against the chalkboard as the long crystal-like nails dragged across the floor. The reflection's red eyes followed Moira's every move. Moira pulled on the door with all her might and frequently checked how close the reflection was to her. Every time she looked, the reflection was getting closer and closer toward her. The reflection was in arm's reach. It lunged at her ankles. Its nails anchored themselves into her skin and yanked Moira to the ground. Moira held on to the doorknob as long as she could, but the force from the reflection was too strong. She released the doorknob and fell to the floor. The reflection's fluid-like fingers lengthened and wrapped themselves around Moira's legs, similar to how a spider would cocoon their developing egg. It dragged her toward the mirror. Moira clawed for anything she could to keep from being taken by the reflection. Her small fingers grasped the shower curtain and yanked down the curtain rod. She struggled to wrap her hand around the rod, but when she did, she shoved the long metal pole into the reflection's stomach, and Moira immediately felt a hard push in her own stomach. The reflection girl hissed, then jumped on top of Moira and pinned her to the ground by her wrists.
Tell me I'm pretty,
The reflection girl yelled in her wicked, childlike tone. Tears fell from Moira's eyes and onto the frames of her glasses, which made it hard for her to see. The reflection girl increased the pressure she applied to Moira's wrists. It pressed the full weight of its body against her paltry physique.
tell me I'm pretty.
It uttered again and again as it waited for a response, but all Moira could do was move her lips. She released Moira's hands, threw her over her shoulder, and leapt on top of the vanity in a single jump. She extended her hands over the broken glass, and the fragmented pieces rose from the ground like nails would to a magnet. They reassembled themselves within the mirror. It pressed its left hand through the glass, but this time it did not crack. It swirled as if it were a portal. When Moira saw the swirling vortex, she feared for her life. She gathered all the strength she could muster and bit the reflection girl on the shoulder. Its skin wasn't hard like ceramic as she previously thought. It tasted leathery, a little tougher than human flesh. Maura and the reflection girl both screamed. Her screams broke through the forced silence. The volume of their collective voices echoed throughout the house. Maura's pain was so intense that she faded in and out of consciousness. Marianne ran from downstairs to the upstairs bathroom in record time. She turned the doorknob, but it would not budge.
Maura, open the door!
Marianne yelled. When there was no response, Marianne ran into the kitchen, grabbed a butter knife, and sprinted up the stairs 2 at a time. She fidgeted with the lock. The reflection girl heard the doorknob rattle and emitted a loud hissing sound. She threw Maura to the floor and retreated into the mirror. The lights came back on. The fluid-like mirror returned to solid glass. The curtain rod attached itself back to the wall. The glass from the window reassembled itself, and the open cabinets and drawers closed. The bathroom looked like no incident ever occurred and was perfectly intact. A frantic Marianne burst through the door, where Maura lay severely injured in her own blood. Marianne screamed and fell to the floor. She snatched a large bath towel from the towel rack and wrapped her daughter in it. She lifted Maura off the ground and guided her to the car. Their destination, the hospital.